issue, so the meeting got cancelled abruptly. Thanks for rejoining. We'll just finish up. We have a few more slides to work on, and with that, our class will come to an end. So it is like we were discussing about organizational development. It is nothing but how effectively the interpersonal and intergroup relationship has an impact on an organization. So this is a model in which it has been carried out. So next topic is like organization. What organization development really means? It's like organization development is a planned effort. One second. Planned effort initiated by a processor specialist to help an organization develop its diagnostic skill, coping capability, linkage strategies in the form of temporary or semi-permanent systems and a culture of mutuality. A planned effort, thinking and planning initiated by process specialist, diagnostic skills, data collection over time, coping capabilities, problem solving, confront and cope, linking strategies, culture of mutuality, octa space fostering of certain values and open proactive system. So in short, organization development is nothing but how do you keep yourself updated in pace with the technology and in pace with the trends and with the global markets. So in recent times, it's like you have to be, even though you have been establishing your firms for a very limited period of time. It is like you have an shortly opened organization. You have to be updated with the technologies and the trends and the needs in the market. Only then you can develop the products which are required by the market. So it is like you can have an existence in the market. So that is why the organization development has a greater role to play on it. And then next is like what are the 7 steps in organizations of development? It starts with institution consultation, data collection, and then data feedback plus confrontation, action plan plus problem solving, team formation, intergroup development, and appraisal plus follow up. That is nothing but when you want to organization development is nothing but what is it, pushing your organization towards and much more development. It is how you do it. It is like initially it is like what are the areas in which you have to grow and develop, identifying those, collect the required data in it, and then you have to, with the data you have collected and what the ideals and the objectives you have defined, and you have to do an analysis, and then from the analysis you have to derive an action plan, and for implementing those action plan you have to work with the team formation, and then within the intergroup development. It is like, for example, you are bringing up with a new process development. That is, it is not entirely a new process. It is like you have made some changes to your existing process and the existing process manual, the existing way in which you have been handling all the structures. So you are bringing some development to it. So in that, initially you have got feedback from your team, and then with the data you have formatted some analysis, and you have bring down some procedures and the action plan, and that you have again implementing on your team force. When you implement the exact thing on your team force, it is like you start implementing in an intergroup development. That is like you train the people and then work on it, and then next you just have a follow up, how good it is working, what is the best result it is giving up. So this is how you follow up the process or the development which have been made in the organization. So this is, and the 7th step of organization development, which starts with initial consultation, data collection, feedback and confrontation, and action planning and problem solving, team formulation and intergroup development, and appraisal plus follow up. So this is a structure in which the organization development has to be carried out. So organization development in the global setting, very simple. It is like if you're opening your markets to a global company, sorry, global markets, if you're opening your business to the global market, then it is like you have to adapt to your the technology which is being updated, and it is the rapid development in foreign economies, the increasing worldwide availability of technical and financial resources, the emergence of global economy. It is like when a company is said to be opened in the global market, then they have to frame the policies and strategies considering the foreign economy. It is not enough that you take the policies or for economic policies which has been in that local government, which has been laid by the local government or by the local authorities. So you have to take into consideration of the place where you are going to set up your organization, those that country policies, regulations, everything has to be considered. And time and now, if there is a technology updation, or else it's like the needs and wants of the people have been keep on changing, or else it's like you have to know what that people are exactly expecting. So based on those data, you have to redevelop or reorganize the products. For this, again, I'll just give you a classic example. When Domino's Pizza, I have you might have heard it. When they came into the Indian markets, it is a global market. The pizzas, the pastas, and everything. It is like we are not used to those flavors of food. So when they introduced in our Indian countries, it is like initially there were no markets for it. So people started to do a rework on it. The basic research they have found, it is like we are not used to the flavors which they have been used to. Yes, please.
12:30 மணி ஆகுது.
I can't get you.
ஈவினிங் வந்தா சீக்கிரம்
Any doubts?
டெய்லி நான் 7:30 மணிக்கு போயிட்டு இருக்கேன்.
It is like when the pizzas came into it, it's like we are not new to the taste. So it is like the markets were not up to the expectation of the foreign brand. So what they did is they did an R&D and started to introduce Indian flavors in their food. It is like a combination of local food with that of a global food. So a kind of a localization was introduced in it, and then people started to have the markets flourishing in Indian countries. So that is what is mainly expected when you open your markets in globally. It is like you have to try to adapt the culture, try to include their taste and flavor in your product. Only then you can have the markets. You cannot say that this particular product is for years together we have been selling the same old strategy, so we won't change up, or else we are not ready to change, or else we don't include the other flavors because we are not used to it. So that should not be the case. When you open your markets globally, you have to be ready for the change, and also have to take into consideration of the global policies, their culture, and all the factors which affects has an impact on your product. So those things has to be taken into consideration. So next is like, and next slide, we see about regarding the benefits of organization development and limitations of organization development. When you speak about benefits, it's like changing throughout organization, greater motivation, increased productivity, and it's like as you come up with new technology and innovation and the implementation of betterment of the policy, it obviously increases the productivity. Quality of work also get increased, job satisfaction, improved teamwork. It's lower, it's like reduces the absenteeism, because if people are willing to work in the new fashion which is being implemented, or else it's like they are very much comfortable, then obviously the absenteeism rate will be reduced. So these are the benefits of organization development. On the other hand, what are the limitations? It is like it involves major time is required, cost is also involved, and a delayed payoff period, possible failures, because if the development does not giving a positive result, obviously it has a negative impact. So it has an impact on the cost factor and also the time which is being invested on it. And next is like invasion of privacy and psychological harm and potential confront, and possible conceptual ambiguity, difficulty in evaluation, and cultural incompatibility. So all these things are the limitations or the restrictions in implementing your organizational development. Next is like organizational globalization and organization behavior. When you open your markets globally, then how does the organization behavior, that globalization concept has an impact in your organization behavior? Very simple. It is like when being an Indian company, when you open a market in other foreign countries, it is like definitely you have to give importance to their culture, their values, and their moral values and ethics, and the basic principles, government policies, everything has to be taken care. And you cannot say that those rules and regulations are applicable only for the setup which is being placed in abroad. Mild certain factors which you have to implement globally, so that there is an uniformity in the policies and regulations throughout the organization. It is like you cannot say policy A, B, C are only for if it is like very sensitive policies, then you can have a small restrictions, but you cannot say that I am just open for the global market but I am not ready for change, or else I cannot accept the culture or the traditions which they follow across the globe. So that cannot be done. So when you implement all these factors in your organization, then definitely it has an impact on the behavior. So as an individual, as a group, it has an impact on it. An organization has become more global, their workforce has become culturally diverse. Globalization has created a large shift in the organizational behavior, as increasing diversity has brought together people of different backgrounds with different values, cultures, and beliefs, all working together for a common objective, which is that nothing but the mission statement, vision statement, which is laid by your by the top management or the organizer of the company. So when we speak about a global markets, it is like people from different backgrounds, different culture, different community, everybody will come and work together. So I'll give a classic example for globalization and organization behavior. When you go into an or government office, it's like a government premises within India, you address each and every person with the name of a sir or a madam. This is a normal way in which we address the people. Either they can be your colleagues, or else it's like your client or whatever it is. But when you go into a corporates, when you address the people by sir or madam, they have a different feel. It's like they don't encourage somebody calling you by a sir or a madam. You have to call by their name, with the first name and last name. So it is like when this difference has a greater impact on an people of an higher age group. Because it is like, if we are in a tradition, it's like, if a person is what is it, higher than your age group, then definitely we address them by a sir, madam, or any other local names in which they have been called off. We never used to address with their name. But suddenly in a corporate, even if your CEO or CFO, if they are in the top level management, or in your he or she may be a reporting manager, or maybe your colleague, but you have to address with their first name and last name. So that is what that makes a greater difference. People normally accept the people of an higher age group. They have an hesitation in the younger group people calling by their names. They have an kind of a psychological hesitation, which is another cause of this globalization in your organization behavior. So that is why people of a higher age group, they normally won't accept the data. It is like very few, it is like they take the views from the younger age group people. But normally it is like they feel a bit offended if somebody is calling by their first name and last name. But in a government office, or else in another organization, in a non-cooperative organization, it is like you address them with a sir or a madam. So that is one classic example of the globalization in your organization behavior. And then next is like challenges and opportunities of organization behavior responding to globalization. Globalization can be described as a process by which the people of the world are unified in a single society. This process is a combination of economic, technology, and socio-culture and political forces. So it is like when you, one second, one second. Oh, oh, oh. So it is like when you open for globally, when you are opened up for the global markets, it is like it is a combination of your technology. That is the technology what you have been using here. It has to go in pace with the technology what is available in the global markets, and also the social culture. What I have told you, it is like a basic thing. It is like the way you dress up, the way you speak, the way you address people, the way the organization is set up. So even the colors, the texture they use for having the ergonomic factors. So everything has to be taken into consideration when you open up for a global markets. The reason is like certain colors and certain structure or certain formats of representing the company logos or the documents are not being accepted in the other part of the world. So you have to give importance for those factors, and you have to give importance to those cultural factors, and then frame your organization policies and rules and regulations, so that it is widely accepted, and it is not hurting any of your employees. And then organization behavior across the globe. So what are the factors? If you just across the globe, if you see, obviously you have to consider the social condition, the legal and ethical, the political condition, and the economical condition. All these have an impact on your organization, because these are one of the external and the major force in which you cannot have any control. It is like when you think about expanding your organization across the globe, then you have to take the political and the legal conditions, that is like whatever the practices which is being followed across the globe, you have to take those factors into consideration, and again reframe your organization policies so that they are accepted legally, and you have you can run your business without any hindrances. And next, when you move across the global world, there are other factors apart from your external factors. There are other factors to be considered, like your psychological factors of your employee, and then your social factors and the cultural factors. So these factors also have a role to play in combined with your external factors of your cultural, social, ethical, and political factors. So even it is like you cannot say that I'm done with my external factors, so I can just have a forgo with my local factors. So no, that is not the way. It is like if you are open up to the global markets, you have to take each and every factors into consideration, so that the employee as well as the employer and the end customer who have been benefited by your organization, it can be a society or else an NGO whatsoever, it is like they don't have any hesitation towards using your product, or else having an good rapport with your business. So that is why when you move across, you have to take all these factors into consideration. The future of organization behavior, it is nothing but identifying the trends and developments of organization behavior, discussing these trends in the light of the global economy and geopolitical development, use a variety of perspectives to understand the forms and functions of the modern organization. So it is like you have to the essence of these points are nothing but you have to be in trend, in pace with the technology which is being used. You have to update. It is like get yourself updated with the political as well as the economic policies which is being framed across the globe. And if there is a variations, or if there is an discrepancies between the policies which have been already framed, and if it doesn't have a match with the global policies, you have to rework on it, and you have to reframe the policy so that they just go well with the other government also, and use a variety of perspectives to understand the forms and functions of the modern organization. It is like you should be opened enough in order to take the perspective, that is the understand the markets globally in the same sense as the market is expecting. So we cannot have our own perception and then move things in that fashion. No, it is not like that. It is like you have to take how the things have been seen or projected globally. In that perspective, you have to run your organization. So emerging trends in organization behavior is nothing but diversity in workforce. That is nothing but you have people of almost all the age category, or else across the globe you have your people from different cultural, caste, creed, community background, with the different skill set, different educational background. It is like you have a bunch of people who work for uh, getting your company objective satisfied, and these bunch of people are across the globe. So it is like across the globe you are having a skilled labor force, so that they work for the organization in getting their mission and vision statement get accomplished. So changing demographic of workforce, emerging employment relationship, information technology, team work teams, and business ethics. So it is like, as I've said, each and every organization, when you open your business globally, you have to take the moral values and ethical values which has been in practice in the other nations too, because there are certain countries in which they have a restrictions in certain food items, restrictions in certain colors, certain font they use, and a certain script they use it. So you have to frame your policies, and you have to train your employees in such a way that it doesn't hurt, or it doesn't have any negative impact on the other country people's cultural values or ethical values or their belief and their customs. So the policies has to be in such a way that it is not disturbing the feelings or ethics or policies, or not violating any strategies, policies which is being laid by the other country people too. So when you work with the people of different cultural or ethical values, you have to take almost all the things into consideration and frame your policy in such a way that they are much effective and more pleasing, and also they drive you in attaining your set goals and objectives which is laid by your top management. So this is all about organization behavior, how an individual works in terms of an when an individual is working in an organization, how they react in a group, and what are the characteristics to be considered, and as a within an specified culture, within a specified ethical values, how they are, and when they globally move across, then how they have to be. So taking all these factors into consideration, you have to frame your policies, regulations, and you have to frame your ethical structure in such a way that it doesn't have an that doesn't affect any policies or any people as such. So this is an essence of your management behavior effectiveness. So till now we have seen what personality is, motivation, leadership qualities, organization culture, development, how you have to pay your employees, what is job satisfaction has a role to play on it, how behavior has an role to play as an individual, as a group, or else in across the globe, what are the trends and technologies you have to follow. So these are the various concepts which have been discussed in your managerial behavior effectiveness. I repeat, it is a paper, a combination of your organizational behavior as well as your principles of management. So if time permits, if you get books of these two subjects of various authors, prominent authors, you can just go through these textbook. Apart from the material what they provide, it will give you a detailed knowledge of what are the leadership skills are, what motivation is all about, and how it has an impact. You will have a better understanding, so that it would be easy for you to write your examinations. So till now, any doubts so far, any concepts to be explained? Any doubts? Fine. With this, I take you people silence as you people have no doubts and no questions to be asked. With this, our session for managerial behavior effectiveness comes to an end. So till now, we have done with marketing management, human resource, and managerial behavior effectiveness. This is the last session. Okay, I wish everybody very good luck. Write your exam well, have a thorough knowledge, and these concepts are practically implemented in your organization too. So don't have your concepts relating only to examination. Read so that you can just implement in your organization too. So any doubts, Mr. Devanand?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Okay, then we'll just wind up the session as of now. Thank you.